Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good night, or doesn't matter the hour you're watching this video. Welcome, this is Mayra, and today I'm going to talk about the subject methods and approaches in language teaching. Okay, first I'm going to answer different questions that my friends ask me on Instagram because I post a story and about my friends could ask me the questions that they want about this subject and about my teaching practice. So okay, now I'm going to answer those questions, and the first is, hi Mayra, hi, what is an approach is for homework? Okay, firstly, according to Edward Anthony,
An approach refers to the theories about the nature of language and language learning that serve as the source of practices and principles in language teaching.
for me, an approach is a way that learning a language is seen. In based on this, there are activities, strategies to use which are useful to achieve this nature of language. There are different approaches in teaching and learning English, but the most common and the one that is used in education is the communicative approach, which sees language as a way of communication through interaction and real world examples. Okay, the second question is, and what is a method? In my view, a method is the steps or the way that teachers follow during a lesson or some lessons to achieve a specific lesson's objective. Um, why are methods and approaches important in teaching? This is the last question, I promise. Okay, don't worry. Methods and approaches are important in teaching because in this way teachers guide their teaching and design the activities according to these methods or approaches. Teachers can also consider important aspects to apply in teaching, knowing about the different theory, and it helps teachers to know the different ways that language is learned, and it can help teachers to benefit the students' learning. Finally, tell us about your practice, your experiences. Okay, this semester I had 2 periods of practice and they were very challenging. In the first, I only used the methodology PPP, presentation, practice, and production, and I thought the classes were very repetitive, but it was really suitable according to my students' level. In the second period of practice, I applied other strategies and methods for my teaching, which I think will be useful for my classes, such as total physical response and task-based learning. Trying different methods is a good idea because you can know what are more suitable for students, but not all them there are suitable, so you have to check it. I also learned that the interaction between students and the teacher can facilitate students' language learning. Sometimes I didn't have good results as I expect, but I think the most important thing is to reflect and change it.
Now I'm going to talk about the different methods and approaches seen in this subject. The grammar translation method. It was first used in the teaching of the classical languages Latin and Greek. This method makes the use of translation in grammar study as the main teaching and learning activities. Students need to be able to develop the ability to translate text from their first language into the second language and vice versa. The direct method. It was developed as a response to the grammar translation method. This method focuses on learning the target language without using the native language. One of the main objectives of using the direct method is to help the student think in the target language naturally, similar to the way he or she does in his or her own native language. The oral approach. The oral approach was a direct reaction to the direct method. The oral approach relies on the use of situations to teach language. A situation is the use of such as pictures, objects to teach. Students are expected to listen and repeat what the instructor or the teacher says. In the oral approach, students learn the structures in order to use and understand language. Situational language teaching. It emerges from the oral approach. Teaching is based on a structural view of language, speech structures, and a focus on a set of basic vocabulary items are seen as the basis of language teaching. The teacher decorates the classroom, this to simulate the real communication environment. Audiolingual method. This arose because the United States was into the World War II and needed people who were fluent in foreign languages. Audiolingualism views language as a set of structures, including phonemes, morphemes, and syntax. The patterns were deduced by analyzing the language used by native speakers. Communicative language teaching. It is based on the theoretical position about the nature of language. Richards and Rogers, 1986, describe CLT as an approach based on communicative language use. Its objective is to communicate in the target language in authentic situations. Total physical response. It was created by James Asher. It is based in the way that children learn their first language. TPR can be used to teach and practice many things, for example, vocabulary connected with actions, imperatives or instructions, for example, stand up, close your eyes, and storytelling. The Silent Way. The Silent Way was founded by Caleb Gattegno. It is based on the idea that language learning can be enhanced in three main ways: discovery rather than teaching, problem solving in the target language, and the use of physical tools. The teacher should be as silent as possible in the classroom in order to encourage the learner to produce as much language as possible. Community language learning. In community language learning, the teacher plays the part of counselor, while the learners are encouraged to work together, interacting, and helping each other in a supportive community. The lexical approach. The lexical approach is a way of analyzing and teaching language based on the idea that it is made up of lexical units rather than grammatical structures. Understanding word combinations, chunks, is the primary method of learning a language. The idea is that rather than have students memorize lists of vocabulary, they will learn commonly used phrases. The natural approach. The natural approach is a language learning theory developed by Stephen Krashen and Tracy Terrell. The theory is based on the notion that we all learn a language in the same way, and that way can be seen in how we acquire our first languages as children. No mentions of grammar rules or long lists of vocabulary to memorize. Suggestopedia. Suggestopedia is a language teaching method from the 1970s by Georgy Lozanov. In order to create relaxed state in the learner and to promote positive suggestion, Suggestopedia makes use of music, a comfortable and relaxing environment, and a relationship between the teacher and the student that is like to the parent-child relationship.
A method which I used was total physical response (TPR). I used it in my second period of practice. Students had to do movements while they were singing the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose.
I use this method because I made a proposal for my subject Innovation and Practice, in which I proposed the work in teams or in pairs with the aim that students participate more. So I consider total physical response because I saw it would be a good method to engage students and they participate more and being in teams or in pairs. I don't have evidence of the activity while I was doing it, but I have the movements that I planned for that activity.
Finally, I conclude that being a teacher is very challenging because we have to try different strategies, activities, and methodologies, and to know what of them are more suitable for our students. As teacher, I think that I have to feel more free with myself to do different things, but all of them according to the main goal that is students communicate the language. The method I would like to try is the lexical approach. This to the students know and learn different common phrases and to use in the classroom, and that they be able to know what they are about and where to use them. So I would like to know the progress of the students and if it helps the students to communicate.